We like to use GitHub pages, don't we? It'd be nice if our stuff ran on the actual web and not just on our own computers. So let's make that happen. It's a little more involved this time. If you look at your repository, I don't see index.html. It's inside public. And all these JavaScript files are JSX. So, right, the version we have in our source directory is not what will actually be sent to the browser. There's actually a build process for this thing, right? We have to compile or transpile this stuff. Not to worry. We can deal with this easily enough. Package.json, we have some scripts at the bottom. We have start, which runs our dev server, which just builds as we go along. Every time you update a file, it rebuilds for the dev server. The build script actually builds the static site as you would deploy it. So we could run that command and then copy the build directory up to a static web server. That would work. But we don't have to do that manually. If you look at the README for Create React App, this, oh shucks, what'd I do? Create React App. Lots of documentation here. If we get down to the actual user guide, here we go, user guide. Way down at the bottom, deployment, third from the end. And there's a lot of information. It's worth understanding some of this stuff to understand how React works and how Create React App works. If you go down a bit, it'll tell you different hosting platforms like Azure or Firebase, or GitHub Pages. And there are a few steps that we have to do. Add homepage to package.json. This step is important. If you skip it, it will not deploy correctly. Open your package.json and add a homepage field for your project. So the deal here is, if you look at like index.html, you see like public URL here. Those links will not work unless you set homepage in package.json, and neither will the links to your CSS and JavaScript. Remember, it's building your actual CSS and JavaScript itself as part of the build process, and it's going to link them incorrectly if it doesn't know where to, basically it doesn't know the URL of your app. So set your homepage to whatever it should be, which is probably going to look a lot like this. So in our package.json, I'll just put it right after name and version. It should be your GitHub username, .github.io/noteherder or whatever you named it. So that's step one. Create React App uses that to determine the root URL in the built HTML file. Install GH Pages and add deploy to scripts. So GH Pages, npm install GH Pages or yarn add GH Pages. So we'll do that. Yarn add GH Pages. So there's actually an npm package that makes deploying to GitHub Pages really easy. And when we do that, it not only puts it in node modules, it also adds it to our package.json automatically. So before, we've just had our GitHub Pages looking at our master branch. But what this will do for us, what this package does for us, is it'll take what we build with the build script and automatically put it on a separate branch that's used for GitHub Pages. So we don't have to have a whole separate repository for the built version that hosts that has the static site as it should be hosted. This will just manage that for us. And then we need to add a couple of scripts to package.json, pre-deploy and deploy. You can put them at the beginning, put them at the end, doesn't matter. Just make sure you get your commas in the right place. So pre-deploy and deploy. This is all coming straight from the README. So deploy runs ghpages-d build. There's a pre-deploy script that runs npm run build. So it's going to run this build script before we deploy. So we just have to say yarn deploy, and it'll automatically run the pre-deploy hook. That's just the way that npm scripts work. If there's one called the same thing but with pre in front of it, it'll run that automatically. Okay, so if you've got those two things in there, then you just deploy the site by running npm run deploy or yarn deploy. Yarn deploy will automatically run npm run build. Then it says it's ready to be deployed, yarn run deploy, and then it does that for us. It even gives us a link about deployment here in case we want to learn more. So let's see what happened. Look at your repository, go to settings, go down to GitHub pages, and hopefully you see something like that. If not, you can turn on GitHub pages and make sure you choose the GH branch. If the GH pages branch isn't there, then something went wrong with the first few steps. So you should have a new branch called GH pages, and it might actually already turn on GitHub pages for you. If it doesn't, go into your settings for the repository, put it there, and then make sure what it says for your site is published at. Make sure that's what you put in your homepage field. If it's not, change it. So copy link address. Mine is actually different. Paste it in there. And then if you did type it wrong the first time, you will have to run deploy again. And of course, while you're at it, remember on your repository, go to edit and paste that into the website field. Not the description, but the website. It won't be clickable over here, and it'll be truncated. So paste it into website, and then it'll be right there to click. Besides making it easier for me to grade these, if you're going to put these in your resume or a portfolio and have people check them out, showing them your code's great, but it's really nice if they can actually see the thing running. So if there's a link there, they'll know that they can actually see your app running, and that's better. All right, so we updated package.json. We updated yarn lock when we installed GH pages. So add GitHub pages deploy script.